All right. Public accountability. That's the last feature of public public corporation. They have to produce annual reports. That means whoever has been appointed by the government, at the end of the year, whatever their business are, they have to give reports to the minister in charge. Like the education, the minister of education will get the report from all schools. The minister for finance will get results from all. So that's what it means. They have to give reports to the minister. The minister will give it to the president. So that's about public corporation. Then we have an activity here. The case study of SNCF Group. SNCF Group is a global company that provides passenger. It has its own there, but we're not just going to read because it's going to take time. So we're just going to go to the question because I read it already. So it said, using this case as an example, describe 3 features of a public corporation. For public corporation, we said public corporations are government-owned enterprises, right? So their features are: 1, they are responsible to provide, according to this, they are responsible to provide a national train service. It's a train corporation, national train service. They are responsible to do that. 2, it is owned by the French government. That's another feature. And 3, it can be created by an act of parliament. That means they come up with laws to create such business. That's about that. Then question 2. Based on the case study, they said, who will take the financial responsibility for the losses made by SNCF in 2016? The company make loss. So because it's a government-owned enterprise, so whatever laws they make, it is the government of the country that takes charge. Unlike if it's a private limited company or any private sector business, if there's loss, it will be the responsibility will be for the owners of the business. But for public corporation, whenever there are losses, it will be from the government. The government will take responsibility. That's about that. So we go to reasons for the public ownership of business. Yeah, I got reasons for the public ownership of business. To avoid duplication of service. So here, what we're talking about is the first reason why businesses go for public. Like the main reasons why government try to take or own other businesses are the reasons we want to talk about there. The first one is to avoid duplication of service. There are some services that does not need private sector businesses to get involved. If not, resources will be wasted. Just like the National Electric Company of Libya, GECOL, General Electric Company of Libya. The population of Libya is around 6 to 7 million. So it does not need a lot of companies to take charge of electricity. So the government can take charge of electricity. If not, resources will be wasted. Yes. That's the point there. I think it's clear. Yes. The second one, maintain control of strategic industries. So those vital industries that like electricity, water supply, public transportation, these are considered so important to the economy, to the people. So it is important for government to take charge. That's the second point. I think it's clear. Yes. The third point, fill the gaps left by the private sector. The private sector might not be able to provide all the goods and services needed in the country. As a result, those ones that are unable to be done, the government takes charge so that everybody can have it. Example is education. If it's like we call them merit goods, like education, healthcare. Private sector can take charge. But look, it is expensive to go to private hospitals. It is expensive to go to private schools, right? Yes. So because they are expensive, so government can also provide these things. So it can be for all. So everybody can consume it. So if government is providing for the public side, the private sector also provides its own side. So that's why, just imagine if there are no public schools in this country, that everybody has to go through the private schools. That would be a problem. Yes. Because some people might not be able to afford it. So those gaps that the private sector would not be able to fill, the public sector will fill it. Is it clear? Yes. Then the next one, serve unprofitable regions. There are some regions that maybe because of geographical location or the number of people there, for private businesses, because their aim is to make profit, they don't want to establish there. Just imagine if they have to take a private school, international school, to Salman. With due respect to Salman is a place too. Yes. But international schools there will not sell. Yes or no?
Yes.
So private government will put school there. Government will provide services of educational services there. That is the point there. Is it clear?
Yes.
Then what are the problems about? What are the problems against, or this? They said the reasons against the public ownership of business. What are the problems regarding public ownership of business? Number one, cost to government. A lot of public sector businesses make losses, and these losses have to be covered through taxpayers. You know, the problem is that it's a government enterprise.
Yes.
Because there's no motive to make profit, so they might make loss. So if they make loss, who pays for it? The government will use taxpayers' money, which is not good. I'm paying tax, and instead of you to do the road that is important for me, you are spending on education. So I'm paying tax and I can't have road because government is spending on education. That's the point there. I think it's clear.
Yes.
The second point, inefficiency. They are sometimes low productive and inefficient. The public sector, you see, most of the public sector businesses like public schools, public corporations, they go to work late. They are not always punctual. Sometimes they go, sometimes they don't go. Yes or no?
Yes.
These things are inefficiency. So that means productivity will be low, which is not good for the company, which is not good for the government. Do you understand?
Yes.
So public sector are always linked to inefficiency. The third point, political interference. Different governments have their views. You know, before now there was Siraj. Now it's the Bible, right?
Yes.
So whenever there's a new government, they change board of directors, they change a lot of things in the public sector, because each government will have its own way of doing things, and this affects the running of the public sector businesses, because they won't be consistent. Do you understand?
Yes.
So that's the point there. That's political interference. Another problem about public sector is that it is difficult to control. You know, due to large numbers of, the public sector, they have the largest population, largest number of workers. So that means they are across the geographical location. So there's General Electric Company of Libya in Tripoli, in Soman, across the country. Yes or no? Yes. So they are all controlled by the government of Libya. Yes or no? Yes. So because they are in different places, it might be difficult to coordinate them, to arrange them, to control them, to organize them. So that's another problem. Do you get it?
Yes.
That's about that. Then we'll go to privatization. So for privatization, what is privatization? I wrote, this is a transfer of public sector resources to the private sector. So all what belongs to the public sector is being transferred